to the 8th lesson of learning Matlab. And in this one, we're going to talk about how to make Matlab look a little more like C. One question is why. Sometimes you need to do this, and so I'll go into that more in this class. But the first thing I want to talk about is how powerful Matlab is. Matlab is way easier to use than C for a lot of things. Plotting things out, writing code really quick. C is faster, so if we were to do a really big average using Matlab and a really big average program using C, C would be faster, about twice as fast for really big files. But Matlab, boy, is it easy on the engineer, man. It helps. It's a very practical tool. It's also, I sort of told you something that wasn't the whole truth, which is you can write Matlab scripts and programs. You can get pretty complicated with them as well, and then convert them into executables that don't need Matlab to run. So you even can make standalone operations using Matlab. So Matlab is incredibly powerful. And those between C and Matlab, and I'd add Python and a couple of object-oriented programming languages. You could do just about everything you'd ever want to on a computer. So why would you ever want to convert a Matlab program to look more like C? Sometimes you can't rely on the automatic built-in things of Matlab, like vectorization. Sometimes you want to manually go through. That's not the case in the example I'm going to show you. You could do it completely vectorized. I'm going to do the linear regression in a la C, but you might need it. Sometime you actually might need to actually loop through data, and so that's what we're going to do. We're going to use a for loop instead of vectorized code, and we're going to open a file using the standard C-like commands. So opening a file and using a for loop. That's what we're going to use, the C-like characteristics in Matlab. All right, so let's go to my Matlab code thing. I'm going to take this linreg2, put it in there. I'm going to rename it 3_C for C-like code, right? Go in. I'm going to rename this 3 _C. The function linreg I'm going to rename _C. Okay, so then when I go into Matlab here, oh, and by the way, I undocked my edit window, so it's going to look differently. Or I'm going to do that for this lesson. So I go here, I click on Matlab. I click on Wilson, Desktop, Matlab Code, linreg3c, and then I edit linreg 3 _C _C.m. So now, because I undocked it, now it's free, and sometimes I like to do this a little easier because then I can have this command here and do helps and stuff like that while I'm editing this. So the first step to change this to a C-like program is to get rid of the way we load files vectorized-wise, where it's just one command. And let's do it the old-fashioned way. FID equals fopen C 2115.001.txt read. So Matlab has fopen as well. You don't have to declare FID as a file handle. It knows it is, but so it looks just like C in that regard. And then I want a for loop, so say for I equals 1 to 10. And then I want to do A equals fscanf FID single quotes %f %f, and the way that fscanf works for Matlab is you give it the format and you give it the size, and on the left hand side is the variable. It's a single variable right now, and I'm going to just get a 2x1 vector, just one x and y pair at a time. And then because I'm collecting this A, I'm going to say x sub I equals A1 1, and y sub I equals a2. Okay, so what's different about MATLAB versus C? First, the for loop's easier. I just set I goes from 1 to 10 and then end. No curly braces, no nothing. So that's how you do a for loop in MATLAB. The second thing is that to talk about an array, a vector, an array, to get an index value, it's not square braces, it's round parentheses. So it's round parentheses, not square braces, for an array index. That's an important point. And it's everything everywhere is single quotes, not double quotes. So those are the three big differences that I see between MATLAB and C. Right? So then we plot there, and then we do linreg, and everything else stays the same. I'm going to leave this function in MATLAB format, and I'm just going to change linreg to a C-like form of linreg. Okay? So first I'm going to save that, Control S. By the way, let's just run it just to make sure. Linreg 3 underscore cap C. Yeah, shows up. Oops. Right. So because I changed linreg is not found, so I have to fix that. So I'm going to say edit linreg underscore cap C dot M. That comes up, and now I have two tabs: the linreg 3, the thing that calls linreg, the function subroutine. So I'm going to change this into a C-like function. First off, you have to make that match that, and the little yellow goes away, the warning goes away. I'm going to leave n equals length x. I'm just going to leave that, but I'm just going to do this the for loop way, right? So I'm going to say sum x equals 0, sum y equals 0, and so on. And then put a for loop in for I equals 1 to n. Again, the parentheses, not the square braces. Because I'm doing just one scalar, x sub I in this case is just a scalar. Right here is a scalar. So then you just use plain old squared. A scalar plain old squared will give back a scalar. And so you don't have to worry about dot power or dot times in that situation. You don't need to worry about dots of I either. So, boy, that looks a lot like the C algorithm. And so just to show you that MATLAB can do things in C form or they can do them in vectorized form. That's really the lesson. Of course, Dr. Olson, why are you showing me this? Because it's so much easier vectorized. You showed me Valhalla. Why are you taking me back to this? So sometimes you just might need it. You just might need it to do it the non-vectorized way An algorithm just might need it. And so this is just showing you that MATLAB is powerful. It can do C-like things. That's the main reason I showed you that. So when I go back into linreg3c, instead of calling linreg, I'm going to call linreg_c. Now when I do linreg3_c, and it works. The answer is the same. Cool. That's it. That's how you can turn MATLAB-like code into C-like code. MATLAB's pretty powerful.